Hello friends, this is Anca and I have David here, and we want to talk to you a little bit about this AI Wellness Infinit Tour that we got to experience this entire weekend at the Anaheim Convention Center. So before we talk about it, because there's quite a bit to unpack, I want to premise with the fact that AI Wellness reached out to me to be one of their media VIP partners to cover the tour experience. They have 3 different dates that they're working with, and one of them was going to be the kickoff of this tour here in Anaheim, August 1st to the 3rd. And the next one is going to be in Vegas, and then there's another date in Miami, Florida. So when I first got the email, at first I thought it was spam. I think it came via LinkedIn, and I ignore a lot of LinkedIn messages because most of them are questionable. So then I got the email and I looked into it a little bit and I'm like, what is this thing? So obviously I ran a deep research via ChatGPT to find out what is this, where is it coming from, are they associated with any other organizations? And I did come to find out that they are indeed the sponsor of the Fit Expo, which happens to be one of the largest expos on the West Coast. So as I'm going through my mind about this, I'm like, that would be kind of interesting. Who would be a better person to bring on than David? Because one, we partnered on a lot of other fitness and wellness initiatives. Think of IMAX Push-Up Challenge and the Return on Wellness podcast and a bunch of other things. And then I asked him, hey, would you be interested to join me as a co-partner in this media experience? And I'm not gonna put words into your mouth.
I think my exact words are, is this event even real?
It was funny because you also said AI and wellness, it sounds like somebody just slapped together the 2 most trendy words right now and made it as an event.
I said, AI Wellness, is it buzzword con? There was also a lot of emojis, and if you use ChatGPT regularly, you'll know that it loves to add emojis. So yeah, I was deeply skeptical. I didn't realize it was co-located in with Fit Expo. That made me feel better about it.
Okay.
The fact it was in Anaheim, I knew there would be running water and functioning bathrooms and access to food.
No fire festival here.
Yeah, we're not stuck on Pablo's Island, but I wasn't really on board until I saw like a friend of a friend's post that you sent me on LinkedIn about the event, and then I reached out and got introduced to him, and he's an MD, and said, hey, is this wellness event legit? And he said, yes, it's a real thing, it's actually happening. And then I was less skeptical.
So that was our thought process to even engage with this event that, in so many ways, it could have been a scam, right? So now that was checked off, we were, okay, so let's do it. I replied, I told them we would be on board. And that's where the story starts, really. After this initial email, then we started getting a gazillion of emails. The problem is not the gazillion of emails.
Actually, that was a good thing.
That was a good thing.
They were overly communicative.
Totally, 100%. The problem was, one, it was constantly coming from different people, almost like they had one person sending a blast, and then there was another person sending a similar blast, and there was a third person, but nobody seemed to communicate internally. By the way, I just sent the exact same email to the same people, asking them to do exactly the same thing, and then they had over 200 forms, kid you not, to do this and do this and do this. At one point I got form overloaded and overwhelmed because I didn't know anymore how many of those forms did I submit, how many do I still need to submit. So anyway, I did a lot of the legwork, but it just felt like so disorganized on their end because they would not keep track who they send the forms to, who still needs to fill
It was re-requests.
Yeah.
So, when you get invited to something and then you fill out the form, and then you get the email again telling you to fill out the form, and you're like, wait, I thought I filled it out. Did I not fill it out? And they're like, oh yeah, you filled it out.
Problem, they didn't communicate if you did or didn't.
Well, but this is a big event problem in general. I just went to a industry event.
Yeah.
They sent out a sign up for the morning wellness form.
Right. Get confirmation.
I filled it out.
Yeah.
3 days later,
sign up
make
again.
sure you sign up. And I was like, what? But
I just did.
y'all, we got to get this figured out. Because there is nothing that fuels uncertainty in your participants
And frustration.
and frustration than repetitive form fills, and if you're not paying attention to who's filled it out and who hasn't.
So that brings up the second problem, segmentation. If you are going to communicate with your attendees, do the minimum necessary to segment your attendees in different types. You might have sponsors, you might have speakers, you might have media producers, whatever number of categories. Do the minimum necessary to segment the communication so that I don't get the same emails that this group of people get, because at this point I'm so confused, I do not know what is needed of me because there's too many requests.
Well, or better yet, send out different emails to different segments, because what they were doing
Yes.
was they were doing an email blast to everyone in the
Everyone.
entire address book, and the email would have everything for everyone.
All the
so
time.
it was 6 screens long.
With
With-
20 different links. This is this, this is this, and I'm like, I don't have time in my day to go through your links.
So the challenge is understanding what was relevant to you, both from a what have I completed versus what I haven't completed. There was no checklist to reference because everything kept being resent. And then you got things that weren't relevant to you as well. So like, I'm wondering if participants were getting info on Media Row. It
Well,
feels like they probably
possibly.
were.
So this is when we started raising a lot of red flags. So I got on a call with the VP of AI Wellness to ask some questions. And one of those conversations was around about, have you guys planned an event before? And is this gonna turn into a fire festival situation? Because we are questioning this process that seems very disorganized, disjointed, and altogether, what's a good word for it?
Shit show.
I didn't say that, but it was in so many words.
It was concerning.
It was very concerning.
And I honestly thought this was going to be, I know we keep talking about Fire Festival, I thought this was going to be more like the Willy Wonka one. You could feel the disorganization
Yeah.
through the comms, through everything.
Yeah.
And I think most people saw it a little bit. We're obviously hypersensitive to it because we're in the industry. But there were some positives.
Right.
And I think the positives were, there was amazing people here. The doctors we met, the PhDs we met, the
Really good-hearted people.
bleeding edge tech of the people we met. We had that conversation with that team yesterday where they're doing
Some amazing work in the
blood work testing.
Yeah, biogenetics and biomarkers. Some really, really cool stuff. But before we get to the people, because honestly, this is what made it worth it for us, having those conversations, meeting those people, interviewing and learning about what they do, was in this process of like, oh my gosh, what is happening? We still agreed to come, right? We still agreed to, okay, let's give it a chance and do not set any expectations because at this point, it could be anything. So we did get on site and it was exactly what we expected in so many ways, complete disorganization. I ordered furniture and a set for the podcast pod, and I was highly concerned that one, my furniture would not be on site, I would not be able to track it down, and I would have to go farm for it somewhere. We got on site and nobody had any idea what anything is.
Well, the best part was you didn't get show shipping instructions or labels.
Nope.
Everything was shipped to somebody's house,
Which was the founder.
which then everything got brought on site to, so there was 2 locations. There was the VIP area that was upstairs, which is where the media was, and then they had a booth on the main Fit Expo floor. And so everything got delivered to there, regardless of if it was going upstairs or the main booth area on the show floor. So there was no drayage labels, there was none of that stuff. And it was going to a convention center, and they said, oh, just send it to our house,
Yeah.
which doesn't necessarily instill confidence
I
if
mean,
you know how this works.
The other part of that being, I have a call from Amazon, hey, I got to this house, I need an entry code. Nobody shared that there's an entry code to this mansion somewhere in Chino Hills. So anyway, that was resolved. We got the stuff on site.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, just another hiccup. So on site, they started unpacking everything. And there was no tracking of who ordered what, and everything was just all over the trade show floor. So literally, we go around to look. Now, I ordered something different than everybody else just because there was a guideline, and I did follow the guideline. It's just I follow it with my own sense of design. Let's just put it that way. So I knew what my stuff was because it was different than the other people's stuff. They really wanted everything to be somewhat cohesive, so they had the colors and the links to some of the items that they would like to have on site. But here's another problem. Media should have not cared of this furniture setup that the trade show people were requested to have, because we bring our own equipment, we bring our own gear. I don't need a table, I don't need this kind of decor. So it should have been, again, back to communication, separate communication for different categories of people, because I end up with furniture that I gave away because I didn't need. Like, what am I gonna do with this stuff now that is on site in Anaheim? I'm not gonna take it home. And that was just another part of this whole shit show of figuring out who is in charge of what. And that was the biggest thing. I don't think they had people in charge of different segments of this conference, and they were all trying to just figure it out as they went. One thing I asked for was an agenda, obviously. I mean, this is not a lot to ask. And the guest list. Who am I going to interview so I can show up prepared? We got it at 9 p.m. the day before, after I sent a few emails elevating it higher and higher.
The agenda, the best part is, they said, hey, congratulations, you're going to be on the following panels. And then they listed all of the panels.
No time.
All 33 of them.
Yeah. There's no time and no location.
Or date.
Or date.
No, it was just a list of panels and who was speaking on them.
Yeah. Then
Cool.
we sent an email and we asked about it. And they're like, here's a calendar invite. Pick your times. So I get literally this page of times.
It was a Calendly.
For Saturday and Sunday to pick a time. And I'm like, okay, so if I pick a time, it gets in my calendar. What is that time for? There was no session, no location, no nothing.
It was like you were just booking your time to speak, but
where? Who?
it was a
What?
panel. So if somebody else on the panel picked a different time, what does that do? I will say there was a guy on the film crew. So
He took matters in his own hands, and that is a pro right there, because he needed to organize his timing slots.
mostly because everyone kept coming to him.
Yes, and
He was like, I'm done with this, because we showed up and they gave us this grid and it had times. So finally they had dates and times the morning of.
The morning they had.
Yeah, on Friday. And it said Friday, and here's all your times. And then the next section said Friday and all the identical times. So clearly someone copied and pasted it and didn't change it to Saturday.
Yeah.
Anyways, they had 4 different stages and there was only one visible stage. And so we said, where are the other stages? And they said, oh, they're in there. And we're like, there's
Where?
one stage.
Where is
in
there?
there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're just gonna set up around.
That
So
made
it
no
wasn't
sense.
until on Friday, they started just doing whatever panels worked.
Everyone
5
was
people would be
there.
standing around saying,
It's like, hey, do you want to be on a panel?
what session is happening? When is my session? They're like, what do you want to talk about? And what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Okay, cool. You can all talk about this. Let's go record one. So there's an opportunity to tighten that up. And by Saturday, that gentleman from the film crew, he took the agenda.
Justin, you're the man.
Took the agenda, built pods. They just set up like chairs and lighting and cameras in various spaces. Totally cool. At least it was something. And they built out a structure. It took like probably 15 minutes.
Everything was so ad hoc, and everybody was feeling the frustration, because we ended up talking with a lot of the other media that was there, and the guests and the speakers and the sponsors, and they were all feeling the frustration.
But even they know it.
They knew it, they were feeling it, and all that to say, we got what we came here for. We had some really in-depth, amazing conversations, with the people that we got to meet, and we brought them onto the podcast. I took turns and David took turns, and we covered, I would say, our bases as far as our investment of time and money to be here. But from an organizational point of view, logistics point of view, planning point of view, there is so much work to be done.
Opportunity, we call it opportunity.
And I remember you saying that you end up talking to the co-founder and having a honest conversation about that.
Yeah, well, so I got to meet him and we were chatting about, what do you do, blah, blah, blah. And he asked me what I do. And I said, oh, I'm the co-founder of a corporate meetings and events agency where we specialize in operations, logistics, and communication. And he said, do you have a cart? And I said, absolutely, because their Vegas one is in 2 months. And he goes, we fell down on a few things. And I said, well, I'll be honest with you. Event 1, you can get away with murder. Event 2, if it's like this again, nobody's coming to event 3 because they're doing a tour. So this is stop 1 of 3, and they got to lock it up. There was plenty of people at this one. They actually had film crew leave.
I know.
And quit on site.
I know.
And there were
they
the
had
sponsors.
Podcast hosts just like us that came and left. Like, we are not staying. This is so disorganized. Now, I'm more resilient. I can put up with a lot of stuff. We've been in events. We saved the day many times, and we did save the day for them on quite a few things.
Like pipe and drape?
We did take matters the same way as Justin, well done, Justin, into our own hands to make things happen. I mean, that's kind of like doers do.
Well, I mean, we know how. That's the thing, is I think the people who came in and like the podcast who came in and left, they don't know. Like, they don't know to go to show services and ask if an order was actually placed for pipe and drape or not. Because that took a day and a half to get pipe and drape because the order never actually got placed.
And to make things worse, we were actually asked to come on site on Thursday. We couldn't because we came from other events, so we ended up coming Friday around noon, I would say. And by then, we thought everybody set up. No, they were so behind. I think they were running behind like a day and a half. Like, it was ridiculous.
Because they weren't organized. So of course it took them twice as long to get
it was
done.
ridiculous. But anyway, last thoughts.
Yeah, worth it. Met some amazing people, had some incredible conversations. We met the people from Age Code. Age Code, where they're testing methylation and giving you your bioage and organ health and all this other crazy stuff. At a cellular level, not just at your DNA level.
Right. It was a very interesting conversation. We're going to post that on our YouTube channels. Then we also met the designers and founders of the
hyperbaric chamber, which we got to try.
Yes.
We also met a former oncologist. He's a cancer doctor. And he saw this differentiation in his patients who were outliving other patients when they had a belief system in place and or had the faith that they were going to beat cancer. Yeah. And now he's in the process of trying to, I'm going to make up a word and say scientize it.
Yes.
But he's trying to make belief a measurable, calculable thing, which is wild because belief is just one of those things that we all have, but it's not measurable, and that's what he's working on.
Yeah.
And David Allison, if you're seeing this, it has a lot to do with values, so you're gonna love this.
So amazing. Anyway, a lot of amazing people. Daisy was another podcaster on site that I connected with, and we really bonded over this
Trauma bonded.
Trauma bonded.
She was a fellow podcaster, and we spent a lot of time commiserating.
Well done, Daisy. She was amazing to have a conversation with. All in all, it was, at the end of the day, those connections and those people that we met, and Neil, the VP of the AI Wellness, we connected with her because she was going through this the same way as everyone else, and I think she was thrown into it without having any clue of how hard this is going to be. And I think this is where people disrespect the work of a professional event planner, event organizer, because they think they could easily throw on a trade show, on an event, without having no understanding of the entire workflow that is involved in that. So Mio had to figure out as she went, and I'm sure she's learned some lessons, hard lessons, and hopefully there's going to be some changes.
Well, I think one of the big takeaways as well, that this is what it felt like to me, is that they let AI run the show without any adult supervision.
But the AI was a child. That's the
Well,
problem.
AI is a child. And the thing is, when it goes unsupervised and unchecked, it forgets things. It misses things. That's why you're always supposed to proof something before you copy and paste it. Or you copy and paste it and then proof it.
Yes.
But either way, you have to proof it,
Yeah.
because we got a document.
Still had the prompt in it.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, they had instructions in the same document that they sent us what to do with how to set up a form, like step by step. I mean, this is the level that we're talking about.
I think also they were moving way too fast. And yeah, it was a lot of great people with a lot of great ideas.
I think they're also throwing ideas all the time into the pot, saying, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But nobody was there to strategize and say, okay, what is viable and what is possible and what
what's
is something
valuable.
that valuable and what should be something to shelve it for another time. Like, we don't have to do everything, and every idea that pops into your head, just put it over there and let's run with it. A little bit of strategy goes a long way.
Yeah, well, it keeps your focus. And that's one of the things that I felt there was a significant lack of. It was shotgun blasts, it was not rifle.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of like, we're gonna do all the things.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
Worth it, not worth it, and
I'm gonna go
what
neutral.
are we gonna give it? Like this?
yeah,
I'm gonna go
because
this way.
the truth of the matter is, we talked to a number of people that were like, I am not doing another one of these. And I said, hey, well, we talked with the founders, and
If we're involved,
if we're involved, will you come? And they said yes. So we're gonna see what happens. Love to work with them. It'd be a great opportunity to really ensure that people get some significant value out of this. If they call us, then we'll probably go. If they don't, then we probably, I won't.
Yeah, no, if they're not going to take organization, logistics, strategy seriously, I'm not in it.
This is where you find out people's real character, because in events, we all know things go wrong, and it's how people deal with them that you understand if you want to continue that, any relationship, business relationship, personal relationship. How do people handle snafus?
Stress and overwhelm,
Yeah.
and things gone completely wrong.
So I'm going to say neutral, because it was the first one. Things go wrong, I get it. They're in over their head. If they course correct, then maybe it's great. If they go, it was fine,
Yeah, if they
then
do not
I'm all
take
set.
these lessons to heart, to really do something with them, then it's not worth it. But for what it was worth, for our time here, I would call it a win from different points of view, not the ones that we struggle with. And at the end of the day, it just comes back to relationships. The fact that we were able to make some relationships on site and connect with some good people, that's the power of event. Like, things can go so wrong, and then at the end of the day, you make that one important relationship on site, and you will turn this mess around and say it was still worth it regardless of the setting.
I bet, speaking of Fire Festival, I bet there's people who went to Fire
I bet.
Festival that are lifelong friends now.
Yeah,
They've been
exactly.
friends ever since.
Yeah.
Because that's the power of trauma bonding.
That's the power of in-person events.
Well,
Let's leave it on that.
okay.
Thank you.